Hi there. Greetings and salutations. My name is Jake Quarry. That is Derek Schultz, who is wearing his Colts shirt because it is the opening week of Colts training camp. Derek, I'm curious, glasses on or off for me today? What do you think? I brought them.
Let me see, and then I will make my determination.
I'm getting worried that my face is getting too fat and these glasses look too small.
Would you stop? Yeah, no, I'd keep the glasses, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I'd keep the glasses, yeah. And I don't think your face is getting fat. I don't think you're getting fat. I think you look great. Well, especially for your advanced age. I mean, you look good.
You know what? I will say I look good in general, but for my age, yeah, sure.
I would agree, actually. You look good in general, but you especially look good for your age. You do. No, I'm serious. Like, you look younger, and I know you got the gray stuff going on, but, like, if I were to guess, I would guess that you are 46 years old.
Well, I appreciate that.
That would be my guess. Yep.
I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll absolutely take it. This is, in terms of 46 years old, this is year number, 42 for the Colts training camp in Indianapolis. Is that right?
Yeah.
We have a new camera here. What's going on here?
Yeah,
Makes me nervous.
I don't know if it's an upgrade. Well, if
is
it's
that
an
the
upgrade
FBI
per
or
se.
something?
No. See, look at that. It moves. Whoa.
Yeah, no. See, that makes me
Whoa.
nauseous.
We are and we have one on the other side, too.
But look how pale
Can we
I look.
activate robot number 2? No. Oh, okay. Robot number 2 is not activated yet. Vince is giving me the hand signals. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, but can we work the iris on it? Because I look totally pale.
But, buddy, we're on this one. This is our old reliable camera.
Yeah, I know.
Right here,
but this one here, when he goes to that one,
I don't think you look pale.
And my face looks fat.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No,
I
you're good.
Let me
You're good.
shrink this. Hold on.
Look at that. See? There you go. Now we're just on the
But that cuts my head off. Hold on.
No,
I'm trying to lower this. Oh, well.
There you go. Well, too much. Too much. Go up a little bit.
But I have a double chin, don't I?
Just relax.
I think I do. And I'm a little pale.
Our female numbers are incredible on this show. Like, way better than they ever were in the radio days because people can see us. So
well, now
don't
they see me
sweat
shrinking away. Hold on. I gotta raise this.
So Colts, while Jake's doing that, Colts report to camp today. We're taping this right now, early Tuesday morning. No actual practices happen until tomorrow.
Correct.
So the official opening, I guess you can say, is
until
today.
11.
It's technically
a whole
tomorrow.
hour of practice.
Yeah.
A whole hour, because when you are coming off a season where you didn't make the playoffs and your quarterback threw at 47%, there's nothing to work on.
Well, it's just different. It's different than the practices that Jeff Harrod and
I get it.
Dwayne Bickett went
It's a different
through.
era. I get it.
Right?
It's true everywhere, right?
It's not the same. It's not the same. 2-a-days and whatever. Do they even do 2-a-days anymore? I mean, not that long ago, they were still doing. I remember doing a morning practice and afternoon practice when they were in Terre Haute,
Right.
And maybe even in Anderson. But I think even those are gone, right?
That, to be fair, that is an NFLPA
Yeah,
thing. That's not
sure.
a Colts thing, right?
Which I understand, but like we're not that far removed. We're probably 10, 12 years removed from
the
2-a-days.
One of the things that's interesting to me, Derek, and it's a chicken and egg question, and I don't know the answer to this, and that is seemingly in the NFL we have more injuries than in years past. Mm-hmm. Is that because A, players are going too light in camp and thus their body's not ready for the collision aspect of the NFL? B, is it because the opposite maybe, I don't know, like we are just now starting to see that those numbers will go down because there's less time in camp, and so therefore they're more conditioned, and we'll see a decrease in, or C, could it be that it's not that there's more injuries, we have more advanced ways of knowing of injuries that we didn't know about 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a combination of all of those things, because I do think guys played through more things, not because my era was tougher, but because that's just what you did. You got a concussion, you get smelling salts, they push you back in there. We didn't know, right? We didn't know how serious brain injuries were. Or guys would play with like broken, mangled hands, and like that. It's just different. 40, especially 30, 40 years ago compared to now. So I think the injury reporting is in a different place than it was then. But I do think that there's something to be said about maybe going too light sometimes, and I also think that, Jake, I think guys are overtraining. I think it's just constant now. Some of these guys are working out 3 times a day.
Right.
It's just insane. And they're in peak physical shape. They're as athletic and built and strong and fast as they've ever been. Certainly much, much more so than they were in 1977 and 1987. But it's taxing on the human body to be such a perfectly tuned machine.
I'm no doctor, and I may be way off base on this. But I wonder if this is the case. I can't believe I've never actually asked anybody this. When you develop muscle and you strengthen your muscle core and build muscle mass, does that also strengthen your tendons? Or as you put more and more muscle weight on your body, do your tendons stay at the same size and level of strength, and thus you're putting more strain on them to ask them to catapult along 160 pounds versus 145 pounds?
I don't know, because I'm not a doctor. I mean, I do have an incredible amount of muscle mass, but I'm not a doctor. But I remember that being a concern with Bob Sanders, where he was putting too much stress on his ligaments because his muscle mass was just so ridiculous. We did an event.
He had muscles on muscles, right?
We did an event one time that I emceed at Castleton Mall. I was like 25 years old, and Bob Sanders was the person there. It was Perry Ellis, and we were, I don't know, doing like ties or something. And I stood next to him, and honestly, Jake, he was like my height. I'm not a very big dude. Like, Bob Sanders and I were basically eye to eye.
Right.
But his arms were as big as my entire width of my body. Like, that's how big they were. Like, I don't think people could appreciate how big Bob Sanders was until you stood next to him without pads on.
Right.
And stood next to him in person. But I don't know. I mean, that's like a Will Carroll. That's a Mottman maybe even question.
Right.
Because he went through medical school. I don't know the answer. But I do think, and we're getting kind of off track here. We'll steer it back to Colts camp. But the Tyrese Halliburton and the Achilles injuries in the NBA, I did read something that a doctor was concerned that the reason why we're seeing more of these is because of the taxing, and this is NBA players, not NFL, the amount of tax that the amount of wear and tear people are putting on their bodies just from working out so insanely much, where there's no break. Whereas, 20, 30 years ago in the NBA, the offseason, you took a breather, man.
Right.
Not a day, not a week. You took a breather.
You're not going immediately into Olympic play, and then
And these guys are not only doing that, but like their offseason programs are they're working out 2-3 times a day, and they're shooting 10,000 shots, and they're doing 10,000 drills or whatever. It's just a lot. It's a lot, and I think it hurts the body.
So the Colts camp is here, and the season is upon us, and it begins with the biggest question mark still being a question mark, and that is the quarterback. Now I'm too low in this seat.
Yeah, lift it up.
Like you look higher than me, and I don't.
Yeah, lift it up a little bit.
Certainly.
Oh, that is true. Look at that.
That can't be the case.
Me, king of the castle.
Go ahead. Keep talking about the quarterback here.
The Colts quarterback situation obviously is the biggest storyline going in, and I'm seeing a lot more. Back when he got signed, I said my hottest take this Colts season is that Daniel Jones is going to end up being the starter. And now he's the odds-on favorite to be the starter. And I'm not sure if that's because of Richardson dealing with whatever he was dealing with, even though he apparently is cleared
I like
to
this
go.
narrative that now it's back to square even, with them. It's like, yeah, okay. Sure.
I think it was always going to be a Jones lean just because he raises the floor for the offense. And also, as I've mentioned multiple times, the theme of this season is butt saving. It's butt saving time. A lot of butts on the line, butt saving time. Ballard butt save, Shane Steichen butt save. And in order to save their butts,
Derek,
they got to win.
What's interesting to me is this. Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen, their butts get saved in two different ways. Shane Steichen, it's to put the best quarterback out there that helps him win right now. It's probably Daniel Jones, right? Chris Ballard, his butt's only saved if Anthony Richardson plays, right?
I'll tell you why I disagree. For Ballard, if the Colts go 10-7, let's say Daniel Jones starts all 17 games, which is not going to happen. But let's say Daniel Jones starts all 17 games. The Colts go 10-7. They make the wild card round. They lose to Cincinnati by, 27-17. You're not firing Chris Ballard after that. I mean, I guess we don't know because we don't know the Irsay daughters like we knew Jim. Jim was definitely not going to fire Chris Ballard after that. I don't think the Irsay daughters are going to fire him after that. So I think I think there's a situation where Jones plays well and Richardson busts out, and they let Ballard come back and pick the next quarterback.
What will be the reaction of the fan base if the Colts go 10-7, do not win a playoff game, Daniel Jones is their starter, and Chris Ballard is back.
I mean, it's about what it is now.
Kick the can again, right?
Yeah, it's about what it is now. It's the same thing over and over again. Yeah, Brant and Vince are giving us a thumbs down. It's the same as it always was, same as it's ever been. The Colts are just stuck.
By the way. You like that song?
Is that Talking Heads?
Yes.
Yeah.
When the days go by.
Talking Heads rule. What a great band. Yeah.
They're good. They're great.
Life During Wartime. Great song.
Look at you.
This ain't no party. This ain't no disco.
No, they're great.
This ain't no fooling around.
Derek with a deep cut for Talking Heads. Impressive.
I don't know if that's a deep cut, is it? This Is the Place is also one of my favorite songs.
I have a Colts question for you.
It's my ultimate chill out song.
I have a Colts question for you.
Yeah.
Did the success of the Pacers, when I ask this question, I want you to tell me this. If I ask this on the radio, on my radio show, is it going to be seen as like me being negative Nancy? Did the successful run and the getting on the cusp of a championship for the Pacers dampen or take wind out of the sails out of your enthusiasm for the Colts season beginning?
No, because I would not have been enthusiastic about the Colts anyway. Now, hope springs eternal.
But doesn't it kind of make people just go, yeah, I mean, really, we're doing that? You know what I mean?
This is what I think it does, Jake. It doesn't the enthusiasm was already dampened. Pacers could have lost in the first round of the Bucks, and I would have felt the exact same way about the Colts going into the season. But what the Pacers run does is show that it should not be this hard. It should not be as hard as the Colts have made it on themselves to shift this thing out of neutral and get this thing going. It should not take 5 years, 6 years after your quarterback abruptly retires. It should not take 10 years to win the division. It should not be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard. And that's what the Pacers have shown. It is much more difficult in the NBA to do what the Pacers just did than it is to field a championship-level football team in the NFL.
Because of the way the NFL is set up for you to turn it around, right?
Much more difficult. And the Pacers' circumstances, Jake, the Pacers being a small market team and everything that had to go right.
But Derek, in the NBA, you only need you need how many great players in the NBA to have a very good team? 3?
No, you're right.
So 1 in 5. In the NFL, you got 52 guys.
But Jake, I'm taking it from the context of the Indiana. I'm talking about the Indiana Pacers here, not the New York Knicks, not the Miami Heat, not the Los Angeles Lakers. They have a different set of circumstances than the Pacers do. Whereas in the NFL, the Saints, the Bills, the Colts are just as on an even par with the Giants and the Eagles and the Cowboys and all these other teams that are the big market type teams, or the Rams.
Correct.
It's a more level playing field. So I think what this shows is that it shouldn't be this difficult. And, the Colts keep coming at you every single year with, guys, just hang with us. Guys, just hang with us. Guys, just hang with us. And it's just like, when does the payoff come? Whereas with the Pacers, it came bang. They said, hey, hang with us through this. And then, a year and a half into it, they were showing signs of legitimately turning it around. And this is before they made even the conference finals run. I mean, even the 23-24 season, at the end of that season, you felt like they were moving in the right direction, whereas the Colts, you just never really have felt that way. I guess in the Ballard era, after 2018, you would say, okay, this team's starting to go. And then, of course, the Luck thing happens. But ever since then, post-Luck, you've never felt like they were moving in the right direction.
Here's another Colts question for you before we get into what we anticipate for the year and who's going to start, So I was in, since we last were here, I think, was when I went on vacation. When I say vacation, I went for a long weekend to England to see Oasis, right? And which would have been your biggest nightmare on planet Earth, because it was they said 80,000. I think it was closer to 100,000 in this park, and I didn't realize this. They had a very limited number of portalets.
Yeah,
and I was waiting in line for one and looked around, and people were just looking at me like. And then I realized that around the corner from it, they just had this kind of green netting wall set up, and then that's just where they had gutters on the ground set up.
A train, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
different.
It was what was overflowing? What did you show
That was one of the they had a trough that was overflowing,
Yeah.
And that was about an hour into night one.
It was full of urine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was pouring. It was like
Just full.
Niagara Falls.
They had no drainage.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
it
correct.
was.
That's correct.
It was completely horrifying.
Yeah.
Completely
But
horrifying.
so in going over there, and my cousin and we were there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We came home Sunday. Saturday, there was a concert that we attended at like 6 o'clock at night. So we had Saturday day to kind of tool around. And I said, why don't we go take a tour of the Manchester City Soccer Stadium? You know, you can buy a tour of it and go through the locker room, whatever else. We did that. That stadium is about probably 6 miles, as the crow flies, out of downtown Manchester.
Okay.
So you get on a train, you ride it for 15 minutes, you get out, you can kind of see the skyline off
What's
in the
that?
distance. Yeah, exactly. But when we got, and you could tell that, and the stadium was built in 2000, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you come up the platform, and then the area around, it is like Hamilton Town Center. Now, recently when I was on the trip with Byron, we went, as you know, I mean, I don't have to tell you this, we were in Providence, we were driving to Boston, and we went out of the way to go to Gillette Stadium, which I've been to covering games 20 years ago. But when we went to Gillette Stadium where the New England Patriots play, we pulled in, I'm like, oh my gosh. And there's like a Homewood Suites and a Marriott, and then like a Metropolis outdoor shopping area.
It's not like it used to be where it's just surface parking lots as far as the eye can see.
It's all shopping and restaurants and bars around the stadium. Same thing in Manchester. You're in suburbia, and you have a stadium that around it is entertainment area.
Yeah.
Lucas Oil Stadium was open in 2007?
08 for the Colts.
So this is getting ready for year 17 or 18, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are within about 5 years of the age the RCA Dome was when we popped the Teflon and tore it down. Mm-hmm. How long is it going to be before the Colts are like, you know what, we need to move out to Whitestown? We need to move to, you get the Fishers Event Center, you got the Noblesville Boom playing in their new arena. We need a big new shiny Metroplex outdoor mall dining area around our stadium, and it's got to be 15 miles outside of town.
I really, really hope that given the blueprint that has led to so much success for Indianapolis as a sports city, that the two major pro sports franchises, and I guess let's include the Fever in there, but Pacers Sports and Entertainment and the Colts would always remain downtown.
Okay.
But maybe that's naive.
It does feel
there
like
will be a developer when there's a Colts Stadium deal
Correct.
that has a proposal for some big thing in Fishers or something. I guaranteed.
Yep.
Guaranteed. Or Lebanon.
Pendleton, yeah.
Because by 5 years from now, Lebanon will be basically like a
Right.
suburb.
They could
because
do
the
it next
sprawl
to the.
has gone out so
they
far.
could do it next to the Buffet King.
They can, yeah. Have it be Buffet King Stadium. Yeah.
Have you called them lately?
I have not called them lately. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, for those that aren't in on the joke, there's a buffet which is delicious in Lebanon, and they answer their phone. I guess they take phone-in orders sometimes, even though it's a buffet, which is weird. And the person answering the phone usually is heavily accented, and Buffet King does not sound like Buffet King. They just answer it with the title of the restaurant. So they don't say hello. They don't say good afternoon. They say Buffet King.
But the T is erroneously placed, right?
There's a hard T.
And you used to call this place with relative frequency.
It's more like a buffet, and then King at the end of it. I don't want to spell it out, but I think you guys can understand at home what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'd call it and hang up, and we used to do that probably 15 or 20 times in a row. And God bless them, they would pick up the phone and do the same thing every time. They never stopped. So.
And I think didn't we call it like 10 years ago? It was still...
Yes, we did. We were scared to do it on the air because we were afraid it was going to be a FCC violation. Yeah, so I had you call it on the listener line because you didn't believe me when I first told you. And
Man,
I've seen you The two times in my life that I've seen you really kind of like break down crying laughing was one was Buffet King.
What was the other?
The other one was when we were I don't know why we were talking about this. We were talking about milk one day. Actually, it was on this show, and we found out that dolphins squirt milk into the mouths of their young. And we both kind of lost it that day. I think we both had COVID. Our brains were melting.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a rough day. It was a rough show. This has kind of been a rough show. We're 20 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten to the storylines outside of quarterback. How about this, Jake? Let's do a glass half full. Okay. If I'm approaching this as the Colts season is going to be a success, all they need to do is raise the floor. So let's say it's Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones raises the floor, right? They have a good receiver room.
I think Daniel Jones has
I
think Daniel Jones has the possibility of being Alex Smith. Where I always say, Derek, I call it the Alex Smith factor. Alex Smith, when he was drafted number 1 overall by San Francisco, was considered a washout. And then he went to Washington and later Kansas City and was a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
Was a really good quarterback.
He was a very good player.
But it
not great, but very good.
Correct.
Yeah.
But even the player that he was in Washington or Kansas City probably didn't live up to being the number 1 overall pick. But if you said, okay, you got that guy for the 21st overall pick, good. Yeah. Good play, nice player, right?
Yeah, the Danny Granger of quarterbacks.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way of saying it. So I think that I do think that this is – I think that we look at Daniel Jones and we think that he's a bust or a flame out, and then you look around and you go, but who did he have to help him in New York?
Yeah.
They let Saquon Barkley walk. What does that tell you about
until they got Neighbors, they had no dynamicism. They had no dynamic players. Look at that in post, Vince. 3, 2, 1. They had no dynamic players in New York, whereas
I believe dynamicism?
Not that they have.
Is it dynamicism?
I think it is. Okay. Not that they have dynamic players with the Colts, because that's the whole complaint with the Colts. Colts receiver room is good. They just don't have anybody that's a game breaker, right? But Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce is a good home run threat. Maybe they get something out of A.D. Mitchell. Now you have Tyler Warren in there.
A.D. Mitchell's the
Josh
one that
Downs, I think, is going to have a really big season. I think Josh Downs is going to have like a 90-catch season.
I would agree with that.
So, okay, there. Offensively, we're going to raise the floor a little bit. Defensively, you add in Ward and you add in Bynum into that secondary. You make your secondary much better. Now you don't have to worry about, Kenny Moore's in the slot, right? You don't have to worry about Jalen Jones drawing the best, Jamar Chase or something like that. Jalen Jones is your CB2.
And I like Juju Brents. I do. If he can stay healthy, I think he's a big and active player.
He's got to make the team first, though.
He's got to stay healthy.
I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough room. You're going to have to make some really difficult decisions, but you want to make those difficult decisions. And then Leatu Latu unlocks in year 2, and you suddenly have a pass rush and Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye is who he is, I think, at this point, but he's rock solid.
Yeah, he is.
Buckner and Stewart stay healthy. Okay, that's a 14, 15, 16 level defense, so a mid-tier defense. I mean, suddenly you're looking at 10-7, right? If we and all we did there was
the schedule's difficult, but
we raised the floor of the offense, and we said the defense is going to be healthy and the secondary is going to be better, and Lou Anarumo is going to do more with it than what Gus Bradley did with it.
Here's the way Colts seasons have worked of late. If you look at their schedule, and there are 17 games on it, there are going to be 3 games where 3's a little much. I'll say 2. There are going to be 2 games they get where when you are walking into the stadium or when you're getting ready to turn it on TV, you will say to yourself, gosh, back in August, this looked like a huge matchup.
Yeah, you're right.
But, man, this team that they're playing is totally banged up and they're not very good, and whoever would have guessed. And then there's going to be 1 to 2 games where you turn it on and you go, if I'd have told you in August it's going to be a hot ticket. Last year, last year, or was it last year or 2 years ago? But I always plan a trip in like October, November. And last year I was like, okay, what game is a throwaway game? And I'm like, at Minnesota. That's going to be a complete at Minnesota. Well, then they go to Minnesota, and the week that they go to Minnesota, they bench Anthony Richardson, and the Vikings are like 12-2.
Yeah.
And it's like,
what?
Oh my gosh, whoever would have guessed that? So
and it was a primetime game. It was a Sunday Night Football game, right?
That might be right.
They got flexed into primetime because it was Flacco. Oh man, that was the biggest 7-point blowout ever. I think the Colts lost that game 20-13. The Vikings dominated that game.
Yeah.
Remember they had like a weird strip sack or something like that. I think Buckner forced it, and somebody, I don't even remember who ran it back. Somebody on the Colts ran it all the way back. But I think the Vikings outgained them like 5-1 in that game. Colts were very fortunate to be in that game. But yeah, you're right. That's why I'm always hesitant to say, like, picking games in the schedule. The context always changes. And look, Jake, there's going to be injuries. Daniel Jones is going to get hurt. If you want me to give you a guarantee for this season, I'll give you one guarantee. This is the only thing that I can say firmly. Daniel Jones will get hurt, and Anthony Richardson will get hurt.
Well, Richardson he may go till Friday.
Those are the two.
Right.
Those are the two guarantees that I can give you. Both of those guys are going to get hurt because that's what their history suggests. But yeah, like you could talk me into this being a 10-7 season. You could talk me into this being a 4-13 season.
I'd agree with that.
But I don't think. I don't see the ceiling. I don't see like. I don't even see a pie in the sky way that the Colts would be like a true contender. I don't see it. I mean, okay, if Richardson overnight just took off and became a big thing, then sure, but I think there's about a 5% chance of that happening.
What franchise's media contingency do you least envy right now? The one where you're like, oh my gosh, those poor guys got to sit out for the next 2 weeks at training camp and pretend this is relevant.
Oh God, I mean, I always feel for the Jets. Then that's a tough town. But let's see. Pretend. I mean, if I was on the outside looking in, I'd probably say the Colts just because they're kind of stuck in the middle. God, the Dolphins. The Colts are kind of there, aren't they?
Speaking of the Dolphins, by the way, Mike Wood, Bailey and Wood.
Sorry.
Bailey and Wood is the title sponsor for this program, and we are thrilled and honored that is the case. Bailey and Wood, of course, when it comes to keeping you in your home, two things they want to do: help you find the home of your dreams and help you be able to get the best mortgage rate for it. And then once you're there, knowing that they are investing in the community where that home is, because they're giving back to schools, they're giving back to choirs, they're giving back to churches. That's what you love about Bailey and Wood, the definition of hometown heroes. Bailey and Wood, BAWFG.com. And, of course, the telephone number is, Derek?
855-350-HOME.
It's pretty easy to remember.
And
right?
Homer is their mascot. Or is it
Homer.
Homie?
No, it's Homer.
Homer. And he's a home. Big.
Golf outing coming up, right?
Yeah. Golf outing August 7th.
Okay.
And I will be there. I am committed. Jake, we're still waiting on Jake's representatives to get back to us about whether he will attend.
I may have a work event, and if not, I will be available.
Yeah.
I really want to be available.
That's understood.
Okay, now.
Those little sausage biscuits things are so good. I think I ate 5 last year.
It's fun. And just good dudes and gals all the way around, right?
Hanging.
Always fun.
Realtors are fun people. Realtors.
And mortgage people.
Yeah, they're like
too.
less drunk salespeople, realtors. Like they like to go out and have a good time, but they can stand up and not slur their speech when they're talking to you.
Do you have anybody in mind?
With salespeople, like you just...
Anybody you're thinking of?
No, I think you're thinking of the same people.
How about the Tennessee Titans? If you're the Tennessee Titans, would you want to be like, are you excited for
camp?
camp?
Have you heard one thing about Cam Ward?
I did hear this.
6 months?
I heard Will Levis is out for the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot Will Levis played for them.
Right.
Have you heard one thing about Cam Ward?
Like finding out
one thing about Cam Ward.
Finding out that Will Levis is out for the year is like finding out that the Pontiac Fiero is not going to be in production.
But again, like at least the Colts have the Colts have some, dating back to the Baltimore days, they have some real relevancy in the NFL, right? Like traditionally speaking. But overall, the AFC South, it's just like this division that exists that no one really cares about.
You know what it is, Derek? Here's what the AFC South is.
It's 3 expansion teams, essentially.
I want you to envision your kitchen. The Chateau Kitchen's done a fabulous job coming up with, right? So you're going to walk in. You have a Hoagies and Hop sandwich you just picked up. You're going to sit down and eat it, and you're going to go, and you need utensils. So when you look at your kitchen, you have how many drawers in your kitchen?
Oh, God. 8?
Okay. One of them is for your utensils, right?
Yep.
Second one is for what?
Second one is for, like, saran wrap and tinfoil.
Right,
and all
okay.
that stuff.
Third one?
Third one is for, like, oven mitts and things like that.
Fourth one?
Scissors. We have a Phillips head screwdriver in there.
Okay.
A couple other things.
Fifth one?
Hand towels.
Sixth?
And then a Tupperware.
Okay.
For our Tupperwares.
Seventh?
A larger Tupperware one.
Okay. And then eighth, last one.
Maybe I only have 7. Do I have a different one? I think
you have one. Your eighth one. It's on the far right.
Yeah.
And you open it up.
It's
and
the
there's
catch-all drawer.
There's like a tape measure.
Yeah.
A roll of
thermometer.
Tape, a thermometer. Yeah.
Yeah.
just the stuff that you're
right.
like, I don't know where this other stuff goes.
Yeah.
But it's just and then when you move that same box where you're just like, just throw all that crap.
Throw it all in there. Yep.
That's the AFC South.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
When they did divisions.
And I'm not trying to knock those other three franchises. Look, if you're like a Texas fan, you're watching the show, you're like, what are these guys talking about? Colts haven't won the division. No, you're right. The Colts have not been in the class of division.
No team that had – the Colts have allowed – here's what the Colts have done. The Colts for a decade now have said to the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, you know what, guys? We just want to take a break and sit back and enjoy our Super Bowl of 20 years ago. We're going to honor those guys like every third game. You guys, it's your turn. And yet, Jacksonville, Houston, and Tennessee, each time that they have been able to be the selected one to represent the division within the postseason, they wet themselves, right?
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think one has been to the AFC Championship game in that span, and it was the Titans, right?
Jacksonville did, didn't they?
Oh, no, it was Jacksonville that did. Yeah,
Blake
they
Bortles.
led. They led going into the fourth quarter. I think Jacksonville was the one team that went to the AFC Championship game. The Titans didn't go, did they? I don't think they did.
No, the Titans.
I know the Texans didn't because the Texans have never won a divisional round game. But that's who I'm thinking of. Jacksonville in 2017, the Blake Bortles team went to the AFC Championship
like 2 years
game.
ago. That was a decade ago.
Did I miss anybody else? No. Hold on.
You know, I've got a shirt like the one you're wearing right now.
Yes, the Titans did go. Okay, they lost to Kansas City. I was like, wait a minute. Like, I thought the Titans went one of those years. And they lost at Arrowhead to the Chiefs in 2019.
Was Tannehill their quarterback?
That was when Mariota got benched in the middle of the season, and they took off with Tannehill.
I think I do remember that.
But I don't remember anything about that Kansas City game. I remember Mariota going to Kansas City and winning a playoff game when they had Alex Smith. Do you remember that?
No.
At Arrowhead?
Is that the game where – no, yeah. Is that the game where Mariota threw a touchdown to himself?
I have no idea. But I remember
don't you remember?
Mariota was the starter, and then everybody's like, all right, here he is. He's arrived. And, of course, you know.
That was the game where he was running, and he threw it, and it got deflected back, and he caught it.
Okay, yeah.
By the way, so I have a shirt like yours. I almost wore it today because I like the way it fits.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm worried that the sleeves are too short. Like when you can start to see the white of my arms, I don't.
Yeah,
like that.
The sleeve length for this one is good. I'd actually like it to pick up a little bit here because then get a little bit more, give the people a little bit more what they want. But yeah, it does. I mean, in a perfect world, all shirts that I wore would just be sleeveless. If I was worried about like external audiences, but I'm worried more about comfort and things like that.
Can you imagine what your armpit hair must look like?
There's a lot. No, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in there, but nothing really kind of defeats the chest. There we go. Yep. See, that's why we get the good cameras. There you go. Zoom on in there. Whoop. There we go. Look at that. Just little curly strands of sexiness right there. Let's get to now that we're whet our appetite. Let's get to our Hoagie and Hero of the Week.
You hold on. You're expecting me to want to take a bite? There's only one thing that can that actually would still allow me to have an appetite after that disgustingness.
Beefcake, roast beef from Hoagies and Hops. Natural transition. This is the Keystone. It has roast beef, but this is London broil. This is elevated roast beef. Not like the stuff that you get at the grocery store. Very delicious. Little prove on this bad boy. Little L, little T, little O, shaved O. So it's the really thin, delicious O. And horsey mayo. Not usually a mayo person, but I could drink horsey mayo. I could swim in it. On Licio's bread from South Jersey. Delicious.
The bread's fabulous. Perfect compliment for it. And this is summer in a can is what this is. Just think of this. In the wintertime, you're like, man, I'm longing for the days of just like the sprinkler going and the kids running through it. Then what better way right here. The team builder, it is the Grapefruit Rattler. And this is, you want to talk about smooth light, but has that splash of citrus that gives you a little bit of a, not too tart.
Oh, that's good.
It's beyond good.
Yeah,
really good. This is from Chili Water. Chili Water's right there, of course, attached to Hoagies and Hops there at 42nd and Boulevard.
Yes, you got it right. Yeah.
And also in Fountain Square.
42nd and Boulevard.
This is fabulous.
Hero of the Week. I went to all of the WNBA festivities. It was a really fun weekend downtown. and the weather cooperated for the most part outside of the downpour that we got in the middle of the day on Saturday. It cooperated. And, this is a name that, look, I'm going to admit she does not have the star power, obviously, that Caitlin Clark does, but she doesn't even really have the star power that Angel Reese or, Paige Beckers or any of these, Asia Wilson does. But she's a really great player, and I didn't really know much about her outside of the fact that she was a great player. But I just saw the way that she handled herself this weekend, and she was a big piece of the CBA negotiation, and I think she's respected as the other players as a leader. But Nafisa Collier, I just thought really represented herself well, and I think she's kind of one of those people that even if she's not going to be like face of the league type player, you're going to have these other players that kind of usher in this new era for the WNBA, right? It can't all be just Caitlin Clark. It can't all be on Caitlin Clark's shoulders. As great as she is and as prominent as she is, they're going to have to be others that help lift this league up, and I think she's going to have to be part of that group. She was also the All-Star Game MVP. I think she was one of the team captains. Wasn't it Team Collier versus Team Clark? I think it was. And just to kind of show where the WNBA is and compared to where it needs to get, do you know what the prize was for winning All-Star Game MVP, the cash prize? Do you want to guess?
$15,000. 10. 5. $5,000.
5 G's, yeah. I mean, like, it's all relative, right? I'm not going to act like $5,000 isn't a lot of money, but like, Jake's trip to Toronto, his expense report was $5,000. You know what I mean? Like that's what Jake expenses on an IndyCar weekend. And
conversion rate there.
And we're talking about IndyCar here. I hope it's more than that. I hope it's more than that someday. But the WNBA loses money every year. Brr, brr, brr. I hope it's more than that someday. In fact, that's a good transition. Let's go to kind of the next. Let's go to the next topic. Recapping the WNBA All-Star Game and weekend and the discourse.
The sandwich is fabulous.
I want to talk about that. The sandwich is really good. Hoagiesandhops.com, by the way. Catering available. They have sandwich trays that are delicious. Man, the summer's about to end. Go in there, sit on the porch, enjoy a team builder, enjoy one of their blood orange IPAs, enjoy any one of those chiller water brews, and get a delicious cold Sando as well at 42nd and Boulevard. We come back, WNBA talk, and plenty more to get to. It's Query and Schultz, episode whatever it is, 245, I think, here on the ISC Sports Network. Yeah, I think so.
Tonight.
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap. Duh!
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. We're in Schultz, ISC Sports Network. This is good. This really is summer in a can.
Very good.
Team builder, chili water brewing. So, did the WNBA thing all weekend long. Actually I got 2 tickets to the All-Star Skills and 3-Point Challenge. But what was weird about it, Jake, was it started at 8. It was over at 9:10. It's like an hour long. Which, I understand you're not going to do a dunk contest for women's basketball, but the fans there kind of wanted more. I mean, I left wanting more. Then again, I was sitting on the court, so that was part of the reason why I wanted to stick around, because I never get to, unlike you, I don't usually get to sit in the VIP seats. But I took James down there, and we're literally like on the court. The only person in front of us from the court was the security guard.
I'd like to let the record state that 4 times this year, I invited Mr. Schultz to Pacers games all 4 times. I can't go.
It was always when Ashley was working. And it was always at, hey, it's 6:42 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Can you watch the Pacers play Detroit? And I'm like, I can't get downtown in 15 minutes. Sorry. So no, but thank you for offering me those things. But I covered it for the IBJ, so that was part of the reason I was there in an official capacity on Sunday night. And I think I want to be careful here because the conversation is just so heated for some reason about pay us what you owe us, the shirts, and just the WNBA in general. But I wanted to point out a couple of things. Like this new CBA, Jake, the players aren't looking to get a collective bargaining agreement for 2023 or for 2019 or for 2007. They're looking to get a collective bargaining agreement for 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030. So that's what you have to be thinking. So the people in this conversation that are like, well, the WNBA loses money every year. Well, guess what, guys? They're about to quadruple their television deal,
Right,
okay?
that's it.
They're about to quadruple their television deal. So what the league was even 5 years ago is not relevant to the conversation. They're looking forward, and they want to maximize the fact that this thing is growing. You know how I know it's growing? Because you're talking about it. No one else ever talked about this. In 2019, nobody was talking about the WNBA CBA. Nobody was talking about it. I mean, I'm sure on your show during the summer months, this is usually the dead time of year, you're mentioning the Fever score. The night after they play or the night that they're going to play in a 3-hour radio show, you're going to mention it at the very least, whereas that never was the case. You know, I was on the air 15 years, and we never – I mean, yeah, when they went to the finals in 2009 and in 12 and in 15, we talked about them. But that was about the extent of it. And sometimes we'd have a player on the show every once in a while. But for the most part, they were a non-topic, and now they're a topic. And so people are always like, well, who cares? Who cares about these players? Nobody knows who they are. You don't know who they are? Then why are you so mad about it?
Right.
Why,
I would agree.
You don't know who Angel Reese is? Then why are you so angry about her?
Derek,
Clearly you know who she is.
It is true. It is factual to say that the WNBA, I believe this is correct, this part, at least up until last season, there was not a franchise in the WNBA that operated out of the red. And I know that the easy narrative is this is a league that is totally subsidized by the NBA. I don't actually believe that is true anymore. Either way, Derek's point is valid in this regard. The reason that the athletes in the WNBA are making sure that they are getting ahead of their negotiations is because, and yes, I know that there are a lot of people that say, I don't want business or politics in my sports. Totally understandable. Based on that, you cannot turn around and champion the fact that somebody outside of the ownership group is trying to get an NFL franchise to change their team name, right? Can't have it both ways. But having said that, the reality is this. In the WNBA, this is a league that is getting ready to sign a new television deal that will pay it $2.2 billion. That's what they be, $1 billion. In addition to that, it is adding 2 franchises upcoming. I believe that is Cleveland and Detroit. Am I right in that?
Yeah.
The 2 new that have been franchises before.
Rockers and Shock,
Right.
I think were their names before.
Each of those franchises is making their way towards paying a $250 million expansion entry fee. 2.2 plus 500 equals 2.7. So this is a league that is about to make $2.7 billion. Based on that, if I was one of the employees of said league, I would say, look, I'm not going to work for the wages that I was getting when that revenue was more around the line of $200 million, whatever it was. So, considering the fact that whether it was one player, whether it's 2 players, whether it was drama, whether it was off-court storylines, whatever it may be, if I am an employee of a place that I feel like it is my employment and my involvement that allowed my place of employment to quintuple its net worth, then yes, I'm going to ask for an increase in the amount of the revenue that I'm getting. I think that's fair. And while I understand that player strikes and lockouts and contract negotiations are not a fun thing, a lot of the people that are protesting this are the same ones that if they don't get an increase in their health insurance, they and 20 of their coworkers put on signs and T-shirts and march back and forth in front of the place they work on Illinois Street. Same thing, right? It's the exact same principle.
And it's just like, I don't know if people realize, I saw that the WNBA players get 9% of the WNBA revenue. 9%. Which, when you're operating in the red, you should be happy to get anything, right? But if you're operating in the black, I don't want 9%. NBA guys make 50% of the revenue. that they get 50% of half of it goes to the players, which is what it should be, right? Like that's how it works. So, the owners are lifting it up, sure, but the players are lifting up too, and it should be kind of an equal share there. So 9% is just too low. I guess, Jake, what I don't understand is that, and we do this with everything. Every sports conversation is like this. Anytime somebody holds out, it's, oh my God, he's so greedy, and we've just like wired ourselves to defend multimillionaires and billionaires over, I don't want to say the common man, because certainly a WNBA player is much more a common person than an NBA one with what they're making. But we should be defending the workers in this case. And, when they're there cheering for Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and Angel Reese and people like that, they're cheering the players. They're not cheering the owners of the team.
That's right.
They're not cheering the Simon family. No offense to them, but that's not what they're doing. So I think they see what's coming. They know that this thing is growing, and they know that there's a lot of momentum behind it, and it's not where it needs to be yet, but it's getting there. And so they're trying to get in front of it. So that's a perfectly, we could talk semantics. Pay us what you owe us, because that kind of implies what you owe us for past things. And I think people had a problem with that. And they're like, well, wait a minute, what you owe us? They don't owe you anything. You were losing money for all these years. So I understand maybe the messaging there was wrong, but the slogan is a universal slogan for striking employees, right?
Correct.
Pay us what you owe us, or you change
I don't
it.
understand what's going on with that boycott White Castle deal.
I don't see those signs around town as much anymore.
There's one guy on Illinois that ain't giving up.
Well,
he's like Kramer with the bagel holdout. Can you?
I got some
What are you doing?
some lettuce dropped on my thigh there.
You just put literally a half a sandwich in your mouth for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact it tastes great.
It was the last bite, and I didn't know that the camera was on me, because I thought you were making a point.
I mean, when you were a kid, did your mom teach you any manners at all?
Please and thank you.
What about don't eat with your mouth full?
I never eat. Don't talk with my mouth full, right?
I'm sorry, don't talk with your mouth
Yeah, I
full.
never do that.
Okay, what about no elbows on the table?
Yeah, I did learn that. I did know for a time, like, what was the salad fork and then what was the entree fork.
No, I'll give you that. I mean,
I
you
don't
start
do
from
any
the
of that.
outside in, right?
I don't do it. I think that's how you do it, yeah. We're taping this right now on Tuesday morning. I still have not seen the TV ratings for the All-Star game. I'd be interested to see, because Clark didn't play, but she was there, like she was on camera. So maybe that wasn't as impacted as much.
How many people outside of Indiana were aware she was not going to be playing beforehand?
Yeah. Well, anybody that was aware that was a WNBA All-Star game would know if Caitlin Clark was playing or not, I would think, because that was the big headline story. But, the All-Star game itself, it was what all All-Star games are. It was kind of a joke. They had a 4-point marker. They had a couple 4-point markers on there. If you were looking for intense basketball, you didn't see any. But that said, Jake, I thought the weekend overall was great. I thought Indy did a great job. The players seemed to really like Indy.
It seemed too fast for me. Like there weren't enough events.
Yeah. We did a dribble thing downtown where it was 2,500 kids, and they gave you a WNBA basketball, and you dribbled from the plaza all the way down to down Meridian to the circle, which was neat. So I'd actually never been like in there. I think that's last year's numbers, guys, because I looked that up, and they set a record last year was 3.5 million. And you sure? 3.4? That sounds like almost exactly what the number was last year. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's right, 3.4 million. But still, they hadn't even crossed the million threshold.
The Skills Challenge had
until last year.
1.31 million viewers.
Yeah, which is wild.
695,000 a year ago.
Okay. That's pretty good. But did you see the game or no?
Bits and pieces. I did not sit down to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't miss a whole.
I know the game was, many people thought the game itself was underwhelming, right?
No, 2024, I'm telling you, was like the peak of 2024 was like 4 million people watched, and it did like a 3.4 rating. Because I looked this up.
You're very.
So I think the 850,000 was 2023. I think it was the year before that. Because I had all this up because I was trying to look up the ratings last night, Monday night, and they weren't available yet. So they might be available now. Yeah, I think Google is wrong with that.
Derek is hell-bent on this.
Yeah,
guy.
2024 All-Star Game drew 3.44 million viewers on ABC. That's 2024 and peaked at last year.
I'm not here to call out our graphics department. I think they do an outstanding job.
Yeah. Well, we got a new hire in there, and yeah, he's still learning this.
You know, a lot of people say, I think if you talk to a lot of people, like at the Fan or at this place, or whatever else, you know, they'll say, of the two of us, they're like, Query's by far the nicer guy. Lower maintenance.
Yeah,
I
think because I'm a little bit more business on the show. I think on camera people would see that. Behind the scenes, there's no question who's the nicer guy. How they treat people,
right? How
they regard themselves.
Derek, I've said all along, and I'll say it again. When you make a long list, and it's a long list of the things about me that are great, my humility is number one.
Yes,
top of the list.
On your own list. We come back. Indiana buys out of another challenging college football game. We say goodbye to another Indiana legend. God, we've been doing that a lot lately on the show. And another local product gets paid. We'll hit it all up with quick hits when we return. It's Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride.
Welcome back, Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. Thanks so much for joining us, whether it be on ISC.
You couldn't put down that grapefruit rather, could you?
YouTube, Twitch, X, Twitter, Facebook. What else are we on? Podcast. Still
Periscope. We on Periscope?
There's no more Periscope. Still, our biggest audience is still podcast. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. People listen to us more than anything, which is weird because now you can see us. So
Matthew listens.
Why would
regular,
you choose,
right?
Why would you choose not to see us? Gritty.
By the way,
Darren King.
Happy birthday tomorrow. Happy heavenly birthday to Matthew's mother.
Aww.
I believe 70, but nonetheless, I know a significant figure in Matthew's life, Matthew from Maine, who now lives in central Indiana, and Matthew is celebrating that birthday coming up midweek, so happy heavenly birthday,
Yeah,
Matthew's
that's nice of
mom.
you to say. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Time for our quick hits. Indiana, this happened while we were gone. We took a 2-week break because we gave the ISC guys a summer vacation. Then they came back and put up wrong graphics. What was that for?
It's a quick hit.
Touch me again and see what happens.
Sure. What,
just touch me again and see what happens.
What, are you going to blow up my kneecap?
Touch me again and see what happens. IU bought out of the Virginia series. This actually happened last week. And people got upset about it. And look, I like to kind of make fun and be snarky as much as the next guy. Indiana has said this is what they're going to do with the schedule. And even though they went to the playoff last year, this is what they're going to do with the schedule, okay? They're going to buy wins. And they say, hey, we've got 9 Big Ten games, and we're going to buy some wins. We're going to buy a 3-0 start. God bless you. If that's your strategy, that's your strategy.
If you are in the Big Ten, and today, especially now, with the way that this college football playoff and they're kind of the Big Ten is kind of heavy-handing the NCAA a little bit here, or the committee. The bottom line is this, Derek. If you're in the Big Ten, there's no reason for you to go outside of conference, pre-conference, because you get enough opportunity in the conference to get good wins.
And what's the benefit if you're going to schedule big? Schedule Florida State. Don't schedule Virginia. There's no benefit to playing Virginia. You lose, your season's probably ruined. You win, who cares? They're Virginia.
Right.
Who cares?
But wouldn't Virginia think the same about Indiana?
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, maybe not this version of Indiana, but yeah. I mean, look, I don't think Indiana's going to be a playoff contender every
I think
year.
it's a big year. I think it's a big year for Kurt Cignetti.
Yeah, but what bothers me, Jake, is that Indiana could go 8-4, and people will be like, "See, I told you, like they weren't as good." It's like 8-4 is a great season.
Right.
Like, I still think they're going to be good. I don't think
they need to be.
I don't think
they need to be because you've got to show that last year was not a fluke.
Yeah, if they go 5-7, that'd be a total disaster.
Right.
But they're too good on paper, I think, to do that. But IU's non-conference through 2029. Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, Colorado State, UMass, Austin Peay, Eastern Illinois, Lawrence North, Ball State, Western Kentucky are the opponents through 2029.
Lawrence North's not bad.
Oh, did I say Lawrence North? Mm-hmm. I just slipped them in there. Their next Power 4 non-conference game is Notre Dame in 2030.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So, but whatever. Like, again, I understand Indiana's motive. You know what? Honestly, Purdue should be doing this.
No, you're right.
Purdue plays there's no reason
Well,
for
Purdue-
Purdue to play
Derek-
Notre Dame and Oregon State or Notre Dame.
The beginning of the end for Purdue
Virginia
last
Tech.
year was that Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
That Notre Dame, they got the brakes beaten off of them, and they never rebounded from
And then
that.
they went, and Oregon State wasn't even any good, but they went at Oregon State,
Right.
and it's like, what's the benefit to doing
Did
that?
you like being out there?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
loved it. What a beautiful area of the country.
Corvallis
too.
is beautiful,
Well, we
yeah.
went and we did the whole ride from Eugene to Corvallis. I wish I saw the coast. We didn't have time, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Speaking of Purdue, George Karloftis, the West Lafayette native, former Boilermaker, 4-year extension, $93 million, has 24.5 sacks in his 3 seasons, started 44 games in that span. He was the last pick of the first round in 22. And how cool is this? He has played in the Super Bowl every year that he's been in the NFL.
That equates to how much per year, Derek?
Let's see.
I think I just figured it out. You ready? Don't put it up on the graphic.
22.
I did it in my head because I'm good like that.
23 times 4 is 92. 23.25
Correct.
million.
Correct. Not
There
bad,
it is.
right?
It took me a second. And finally, rest in peace, Bob Hammel, a longtime IU sports writer. We knew that he was in hospice care. Close confidant of Bob Knight's. Passed away on Sunday at the age of 88. I did not know him. I never interviewed him.
I met him.
I saw him in person and things like that. But everybody that I know that knew him spoke glowingly about him.
Yeah, I knew him peripherally. I mean, professionally only.
Yeah.
But I did have, Bob Hammel grew up in Huntington, Indiana. At the age of 17, after intermixed with his freshman year at Indiana University, he got a job writing for the Huntington newspaper and then decided not to go back to school because here he had the opportunity to work for the newspaper. That, in that capacity, that was in 1954. He eventually worked, if that math turns out to be correct. I think that's right, yeah. And then in 1966, he was hired in Bloomington as the sports editor for the Bloomington Herald-Times, now known as the Bloomington Herald Telephone, now the Bloomington Herald-Times. But either way, even though his job was to be the sports editor and to cover all sports in Bloomington, by 1976, 75, that was epicentered within Indiana basketball. And Bob Hammel had a unique ability to, and I know a lot of people would say that journalistically speaking, he compromised the journalistic integrity because of how close he got to Bob Knight. But at the same time, he was pretty honest about Bob Knight, in particular in the early years when he was developing that relationship and that friendship, because to cover Indiana basketball was to cover everything in Indiana when Bob Hammel was at that time. And he became essentially Bob Knight's biographer, for lack of a better phrase. But he also was really good to other media members and kind of working as that liaison. Yesterday, I had a fairly long conversation with Pat Knight, who, saw from the get-go the relationship that his father had with Bob Hammel. And he basically, Pat Knight said, look, Bob Hammel is the one person that could tell my dad that he had erred or when to step down, and my dad would listen to it. And there were not a lot of people that fell into that category because he had that level of respect for Bob Hammel.
Yeah.
He did tell me, Pat did a great story about when Bob Knight first arrived, Bob Hammel wrote a column and just shredded the hire. Said, this is a disaster, this guy's boring, this will never fly. And shortly thereafter, Bob Knight was at a gas station, and Bob Hammel was on the other side of the pump. And Bob Hammel realized, oh, gosh, that's the guy that I just wrote this negative article about. And Bob Knight said, listen, I don't understand why you wrote this article. I'm paraphrasing. Why don't we go and have a little talk? So they agreed to get together and have a discussion about this article. It was the first time that Bob Hammel had met Bob Knight, this story being told to me by Pat Knight. And Bob Knight says, okay, and they get in the car, and Bob Knight says, before we go to lunch and do this interview and talk about this, I got to do something real quick. Come with me. And they walk to the Indiana University golf course, and Bob Hammel says, what are you doing? And Bob Knight starts climbing a tree. So Bob Knight climbs this tree, and Bob Hammel says, what in the world are you doing? And Knight says, well, I was golfing out here yesterday. I threw my putter, and it's up in this tree, and I got to get my putter down. So hang on just a second. And while Knight is up in the tree, the IU women's golf team comes through for practice.
Oh, boy.
And Knight was so humiliated by the thought that the golfers would see the new basketball coach up in the tree that instead of dropping down right before them, he sat silently clinging to this limb while 4 foursomes of the women's team came through and played the hole. Knight eventually came down from the tree, popped down. He and Bob Hammel went to lunch together, and Pat told me that Bob Hammel told him after Knight had passed away that he had never told that story to anybody, that he kept it just kind of between the two of them because he knew Knight was so embarrassed by it. And those kinds of things, I think, are the little things that happen behind the scenes. But Bob Hammel, by all account, from what I have been told and people that knew him well, a very dear man and one that will be missed.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that, best friends, and that's what they were, do for one another. Like, there are some stories about you that, because you'll precede me in death by many years. There are stories, because of the age and the heart, there are stories about you that I won't share until you're gone. Yeah. With anybody else.
There are none.
I know where all the bodies are buried.
That's probably true.
I know where all the bodies are buried. And I'm sure you have some stories. Probably for me, it's less embarrassing things because you've obviously you've told everybody all the embarrassing things about me, but like heartfelt things. I like to think that you would share privately with people where, we've connected on some level.
You cried during Jersey Shore. I know that.
We've embraced.
That was embarrassing.
At some point as two best
I will say
friends
this.
Embrace.
There's a short list of people in my life that and I'm not an anti-hugger.
Nope. Yep.
I don't think I've ever hugged you. The thought of it disgusts
We've
me.
hugged.
No. When?
We've hugged.
When?
I can't.
Tell me one
I
time.
can't think of one. There was a time in the Riverwalk in San Antonio where it was just the end of the Great Week, and we were just kind of like standing there in silence, as friends sometimes do. And you turned to me and you said, "Come here, pal."
Yeah, no.
And
this did not happen. I can assure you this did not happen.
There was an embrace.
No.
Yeah. Do you want to do one now?
No.
I will hug you if you want me to.
You just told me a while ago not to touch you, so I'm going to adhere to that.
Well, no, but this is like touching.
No, okay, no.
Let's just embrace this real quick.
No, do not. That is so disgusting.
It's the Coldplay concert.
No. You need
Yes.
your arms are warm. It's disgusting. Get off of me. What? Why are your arms warm? What is going on there? Your body heat is that? Are you sick?
Our secret friendship.
That's
is
what
the
we're
most
doing.
Our secret friendship.
I need to go delouse.
I'm just toasty. That's all. I just got a lot
That
of
was awful.
a lot of blood running.
Everything
through me.
about that was awful. The Coldplay thing has been completely played out, but it was funny.
Oh, dude, I'm obsessed with it. Did you see that she's the woman in it is married to like one of the power families in Boston? Like really
you mean?
uber rich? Well, I guess in legal status only. We come back on the show. We won't talk about the Coldplay concert controversy. Instead, we'll do Bite or Bull Bleep. And maybe we'll hug it out during the break.
We will not
It's
do
Query and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC, which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Hey, AC,
Nice snap.
mortgages and a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for a final time here on Query and Schultz. Alongside Jay Query, I'm his best friend, Derek Schultz. Thanks so much for joining us. And thank you to our pals at Chateau Kitchens, chateaukitchens.com for in-home transformations. That's what they're in the business of doing. You can check out the before and after pictures of all of their transformations, whether it be kitchens, bathrooms, basements, wet bars, anything on the interior of your home, Chateau Kitchens can do it. If you go to their social media pages at Chateau Kitchens, Instagram and Facebook, they speak for themselves far more than I can speak for them, even though they have done a bathroom, they have done a basement, and they have done a kitchen in my house.
Do you know that when I was a kid, I was so obsessed with the college basketball rankings that I would rank my best friends?
Really?
I had the AP poll and the UPI poll. The AP poll was kids that I went to school with, and the UPI poll was kids that I knew from various places, school included.
Wow.
Like Little League or my dad's coworkers' friend or coworkers' kids, and that, et cetera, et cetera.
If we're going to be full disclosure on how nerdy we were as kids when it came to sports.
You didn't have 10?
I used to take, that's part of it. I used to take the USA Today Top 25, and I would type it out on my parents' Wang word processor, and I would print out copies. So I would do the rankings, okay, each team, who they played last week, who they, what was the score, who they're playing the next week, and I would print them out and bring them to school. And I would hand them out to people, even if they didn't ask for them.
Were people pretty excited about that?
Surprisingly, they were not as excited as I was about it.
Now, you graduated what year?
High school?
Yeah.
2001. This
So
was
you-
before I had by
So you
2001
very-
we had a Packard Bell.
So you very
Or Dell.
seldomly typed out Indiana.
Yeah.
Even though you were going to Indiana,
Well, this was college football.
Okay.
So
Well, then
I
you never
probably
typed out
never. Well,
Indiana,
I mean,
right.
outside of maybe some of those Maori teams, because this would have been like, got my parents'
Nebraska?
wayward process. Yeah, this would have been like the Nebraska, the last heyday
Florida
for
State.
Miami.
Yeah.
Those teams down there. 90, 92, 93, 94, around there.
Oh, okay. Well, Colorado would have
Yeah.
been big. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, Notre Dame was still
Right.
part of the mix when it came to that, and I guess some of those teams have since returned to prominence, some not. But let's get to Bite or Bowl Bleep. Statement number 1, Jake. Daniel Jones will be the week 1 starter, but Anthony Richardson will play more games for the Colts. Somebody threw this to me as a scenario, and I was like, I am fascinated by that.
No, Bull Schultz.
Okay.
Because if Jones is the starter, he's going to be the starter unless he gets hurt.
Yeah, but what if he unless he gets hurt, he might be. It's Daniel Jones.
Well, but
quarterback more
if
hurt than
Daniel
Anthony
Jones,
Richardson,
if
or
Daniel
just as hurt.
Jones biffs it up by week 4, Richardson ain't going to play more than 3 weeks before he gets hurt.
Probably not. Yeah, I mean, I think the smart money is Bull Bleep.
Riley Leonard's just sitting there like.
But I think I think Zach Hicks had mentioned this from SI and from Locked On Colts. His hot take is that he thinks Riley Leonard will start at least one game because both Jones and Richardson will be hurt because that's how injury prone they are. So I kind of like that one. But no, I'm going to say Bull Bleep. I think Anthony Richardson starts at least one game.
Okay.
But I think
I would agree
Jones
with that.
starts the majority of the season.
I would agree with that.
The Indiana Fever will not win a playoff series this year. Bite or Bull Bleep.
I'm going to say Bull Schultz. I'm going to say that I mean, they've got to get some there's still time for them to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And with Caitlin Clark out, I think they started to play really good balanced basketball. It's a matter of how she acclimates coming back in with that group. But I will say that they do win a series.
I hate to say it. I think I buy it. This feels like a season that's just not going to get off the ground for them. Her having the groin injury now, and they got a game against New York, and it's just I think they're just going to hover around 500, and I think they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll get beat. Final one: Purdue football won't finish in last place in the Big Ten. Full disclosure, I really don't.
I think they will.
I don't know any players on the roster.
I
because
like
they're
Barry
all new.
Odom. I like Barry Odom, but I think they will.
You have to default there, right?
Yeah,
You have to,
yeah.
just because
It's hard to think of who else it would be.
I mean, there's some teams like Michigan State's gone kind of crappy.
Yeah.
But I think you have to default there. I hope not. And I hope they can start 2-0. They've got Ball State
How about this?
and
Dave?
Southern Illinois to start the season. You
Buy
hope
it.
they can start 2-0.
Buy it or Bull Schultz. The Great Indiana State Fair, which I love and which hopefully we will be once again at the Dairy Bar. But the Great Indiana State Fair, which starts in a couple of weeks, is the official ending of summer.
I mean, in Indiana, the end of summer is 4th of July.
Totally.
Sadly.
I mean, anymore it is.
That's
it's
how
incredible.
it feels now.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I mean, yeah, it is kind of the
Training camp feels that way too.
To me, the end of summer is Sausage Fest at St. Thomas Aquinas. That is the official end of summer.
When is that?
What do you mean, when is that? Everybody knows when it is. Middle of August.
Okay.
I think it's the 15th, 16th. I'm emceeing one of the nights. Yeah. Okay. And the other night, I'm cooking up some sausages.
I'm going to guess that you were the MC of a lot of sausage fest.
Cooking up
events in
some
high school,
sausages.
too, right?
Jake, it may surprise you. Women find me attractive. I don't know why that is so hard for you to believe, but women find me attractive.
Cute. He's cute.
No, well, cute, sure, but like
He's cute.
I mean, obviously, physically, that's a no-brainer. But to explain some of the other attributes that I bring to the table, women like confidence, intelligence,
Okay.
eyebrows.
Okay.
Actually, that's more of a physical thing than an attribute. But yeah, we've done Q ratings on this, and it speaks highly of you. Women on this show, the arrow's pointing way up. Guys, we're just kind of steady. Over 70-year-old guys, our arrow's way up. But for the most part, males in general, we're just kind of steady. Women, way up. Way up. Two good-looking, confident, smart guys.
Women think I'm sexy.
That are happily taken, by the way. But I appreciate it. I mean, it's great. Oh, Vince is giving me the wrap-up because he doesn't like hearing about it. For Jake, for Vince,
he knows you're full
even
of
though
crap.
Charlie screwed some stuff up, and Brand, everybody else, I'm Derek. Bye. It's Query and Schultz. See ya.
at Bailey